what we have before us tonight is this new initiative that's come in. Number one, we can turn to the city attorney. The first thing we need to do, and I do have some comments to make and a suggestion, but is to first adopt, is that not correct, just the initiative and certify, and that would be 5.2. By law, we're required to adopt 5.2. I'm sorry, what?
Mayor, it's item 1 on 5.2. Approves.
Item 1 at 5.2, yes, it just says 5.2 here, but okay, so what I think I'll do is just at least move that forward because we're required to adopt it. And so with that, I will make the motion to move the certification that's required.
Second.
So is there any discussion in regard to this? City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Fox.
Support the item.
Councilmember Khan.
Yes.
Councilmember Quo.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Carroll.
Yes.
Mayor Shea.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Okay, so we have a couple options. One is to just go ahead and adopt the initiative tonight and not take it to the public for a vote. We've been dealing with this off and on for 5 years, and it's very frustrating, not only for those on the ARDA side, but it's also frustrating for many of us that don't support that. I do want to say that our city council did approve. We all voted for this. I know Councilmember Fox at one time did, I believe, and then did not support it for the golf course site for our veterans. And we did that because staff recommendation, commission's recommendation that that site is $40 million less to build. It doesn't have the cleanup of 77 buildings on it as the ARDA site has. And it's got much better potential at a total cost of around $58 million to be able to be built. 5 Point Community was going to contribute close to $30 million. The state suggested $28 million, which we would have full funding. Right now, we do understand the state is in a huge financial crisis, and we don't even know if that $28 million will even be available for the ARDA site or for the golf course site. The ARDA site is close to $98 million to build. And if the state doesn't come in with the $28 million, there's no money there for it to be built. And I think that's a major problem. Plus, this initiative does not really tie the hands of the city to make this a cemetery. So it's very frustrating. I just believe that we need to give the people a choice and finally come to the end of this. This initiative was approved by 10% of the voters. We're looking at November 3rd as a national election. You'll probably get 80% of the voters in the city coming out. And I believe it's time that we just put both of the initiatives on the ballot and we let the people decide, give them a choice. Do they want the golf course site? And we just list the benefits, and then we list the ARDA site, and we list the benefits, and we let the people vote which one they think is best. We would get an 80% turnout rather than 10%, and I think to adopt this would not be prudent. So I do believe that I would like to make a motion to move item 3, which would be to submit the initiative ordinance, which would be the it would be the ARDA initiative ordinance for November 3rd, 2020 general municipal election as recommended in option 3, but then also to direct a city council sponsored initiative measure to be prepared and submitted to the voters at the same municipal election, confirming the golf course site as the location for the Veterans Cemetery. And that the city council would also reaffirm our city's recent zoning of the ARDA site to protect those residents in the Great Park community, which now allows only for parkland, open space, and limited small-scale retail to occur on the ARDA site. So that's my motion. Is there a second to that? Okay, so it looks like that dies. The next option we have is to adopt or to just put on the cemetery ARDA site onto the ballot. I know there's been a lot of lobbying going on in regard to this, so I'm assuming that the council will move forward to adopt it. So I would like to hear, Councilmember Khan, would you like to share your thoughts? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to be a little clear about this, that this initiative supports basically a zoning ordinance It doesn't provide any source of funding or direction to actually build a veteran cemetery, memorial park, or air museum. This has been a personal political battle that has been going on for years that I hope my council colleagues and I will hopefully end tonight. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and I can't put any more of our time, energy, and funds into another political fight leading up to the November elections. I want our veterans and our Great Park residents to know that we will continue to look out for them. Please note that my vote tonight does not undermine your concerns. But this matter needs to end so we can work towards our future. And on that note, I move to adopt the initiative tonight as an ordinance.
Is there a second to that
second.
motion? There's a motion and a
I'll
second.
the motion.
Okay, so let's speak to the motion, please. Does anyone want to speak to the motion?
I'll just say I think it's about time that we move forward with what has been voted on and now supported by almost 20,000 Irvine
Okay, so,
residents.
okay, great. So there's a motion and a second on the table. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Fox.
Yes.
Councilmember Khan.
Yes.
Councilmember Quo.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Carroll.
Yes.
Mayor Shea.
No. Okay, so that passes 4-0.
4-1.
I'm sorry, 4-1. I apologize. So understanding that this initiative has been adopted, I want to make sure that we create some kind of sense to the community. There's no money to build this veteran cemetery, so I hate to have this adopted without an understanding that there's some support. So what I would like to do is encourage my council members that did support this to reach out to Five Point Community and see if they would be willing to transfer their suggested donation of $30 million or a portion of that toward the ARDA site. I think it's been concluded tonight that this is what is being desired, and so I would certainly suggest that. I would also suggest that we, either Vice Mayor Carroll or one of our other council members would be willing to meet with the contingent that brought this forward and find a date that we could have an official dedication of that property so that the public knows this just isn't some kind of suggested game plan here that we're just going to adopt it but actually never build it because the initiative does not really call for that. So I would certainly support having a ceremony or some kind of similar to what we had at the Strawberry Field site. I think it's important that we let the residents know that we're not just saying something, but we're going to stand behind our veterans and making sure that this ARDA site then is built for our veterans. So I would hope that our council, maybe Councilmember Fox, you might be able to reach out to 5 Points and, understanding that they had committed $30 million. I realized that had been part of a commitment to the golf course site, but perhaps you could reach out to our development partner and see if they would be willing to contribute some seed money to at least put forward on the ARDA site. And I don't know if you'd be interested also to work with one of the council members or our vice mayor to propose a ceremony, a dedication ceremony at that site. Would that be an interest of yours, Councilmember Fox?
I'll be pleased to do that.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear you.
I'd be pleased to do that.
I think that's a great idea. And then will you report back to us? So the issue is finally over, and it's moving in a direction for our veterans to build that cemetery. I would also encourage that we reach out again to the state and maybe even to the county and see. They were talking about building a cemetery at the Anaheim Hills, which is much too expensive, and maybe the county would be willing to partner and contribute to the development of this site as well. So with that, let's see where we go from this. We have public comments.